With the majority of the games for St. Lucia's hosting of the T20 World Cup now completed, an analysis of the showcase is already being carried out by some political commentators. Among them is the leader of the opposition, Allen Chastanet. The opposition leader has been critical of what he had perceived to be tardiness on the government's part to complete the work in time for the games. With multiple games having been hosted, Chastanet now queries whether the government has truly seen a return on its investment in stadium development.
Look, I think that we should all be very concerned. The government had over 1 year, and that's when the announcement was made. Certainly they would have been preparing to host World Cup cricket for a long time. And for us to be on the eve of cricket 2 days before, and that amount of work still taking place. And there's a lot of questions to be answered. So remember, the money to pay for the stadium reparations came from a guarantee that was provided to the NLA. And the NLA board, which is not really designed to be overseeing work, issued all the contracts. Up until now, we don't know who got the contracts. We don't know how much money was spent. But I do know something about construction. And if at the last minute you have to go and get two major construction companies to mobilize on the site because the contractors that you had could not finish the job, the question is who's going to pay for that?
In spite of Chastanet's original tardiness concern, several international players have asserted that the pitch at the Daren Sammy Cricket Ground is among the best that they have played on throughout the tournament. However, the leader of the opposition still questions whether the government got value for money given the series of additional challenges faced by St. Lucians.
So I have no doubt that on the inside of the project, and I'm glad that it was able to get done for the most part, although I have heard complaints, some of the patrons about the facilities themselves. The question we have to be asking ourselves, my job is to ask, did we get value for money? Anybody can spend a lot of money and get stuff done. The question is, how much did it cost us, and was it worth it? I mean, we're in the middle, halfway through ICC World Cup cricket. Have you seen tourists here? Have you seen the justification for spending over $80 million? And I assume it's 80 million. I don't know what is more. You know, so I think that those are the kind of questions we have to ask. I mean, if you spend enough money, you'll make anything look good. But the question is, did we give value for money? And given all the things that are taking place in this country right now, the state of our healthcare, the state of our roads, the state of our economy, the need for more housing, is that the place you should have spent it?
The former Prime Minister went on to compare the government spending on facilities development to that of his administration.
A very relevant number is, you remember that during my administration, we spent $33 million on fixing up 5 major facilities: Juste, Miku, the Dennery, Soufriere, and also the Rosalie Academy. They've spent twice that much, actually 3 times as much, on just Daren Sammy and Rosalie, and some repairs to Mindu Phillip Park. You call it for yourself. Should that money have been spent on preparing more fields so there's a longer legacy? ICC World Cup cricket is 10 days. Developing our youth is a lifetime. And I think that when you look at the use of the Soufriere playing field, the use of the Dennery playing field, the use of the Juste playing field, I think the initial success of the academy all point that more money should have been spent in that direction, and maybe a little bit less on ICC World Cup cricket, or that we should have gotten better bang for our buck with ICC World Cup cricket.
The public awaits the final figures in terms of total facilities investment and direct returns to determine the verdict. For Choice News Now, I am Quinn St. Juste.